Good morning everybody and welcome to all the viewers to Woodhill Country Club this morning, and of course our series with our rugby legends. This morning I'm very privileged to have Werner Kriel with us this morning. Werner, welcome to Woodhill.
Thanks Paul, nice to be here.
Yeah, fantastic to have you, and I know you're a regular golfer at Woodhill,
Yeah,
so
for sure.
we see a lot of you in the Blue Bulls particularly.
Yes.
But I think just for the viewers, Werner, I'd like to ask a couple of questions about yourself and get to know you a little better in that kind of thing, and where you come from originally and where you went to school and how you really started your rugby career.
Okay.
So let's start with your school days. Where did you grow up? And
my parents grew up, I was born in Bloemfontein.
Okay.
From there we moved to Kempton Park.
Okay.
Went to school in Kruinsig Laerskool.
Last
Yeah, and then went on to, was a little bit in Kempton Park High, and then from there finished up in Jeugland.
Okay.
So that's where it all started. Played for the Falcons, Craven Week teams and all that type of things, and obviously moved here after school.
Fantastic. And was it something that you always wanted to do, is play rugby, or did you have sort of other sports in mind, like some of our other rugby players fancied a bit of golf and, you know, a natural sportsman? What was your...
Oh, I must say I always wanted to play rugby. That was the one thing I always wanted to do. Was always a keen sportsman in general. Played cricket, played golf from a young age. Even played a bit of tennis at one stage as well. So it was always, sports in general was a big fascination for me. So I always played, you know, all types of sports.
Okay. So you eventually got to a point at high school where you're excelling in your rugby, and then you moved on to the Falcons, and that's where it really started for you.
Yeah, I think where it really started for me was obviously standard 9 and matric playing Craven Week, and then after Craven Week got invited to play for the Falcons under 20, played in their Currie Cup squad as well from a very young age. So I think that's where it really started, and where I got the belief that, you know, this rugby thing can really be a reality.
Okay, fantastic. Tell me, and as far as your introduction to the Bulls, you know, you've been playing for many years at the Bulls. How many years have you been contracted to the Bulls?
Almost 10 years now.
10 years now.
10
Okay,
years
so
now. Yeah, so it's been a while. I think it's actually a very good testimony from our side. I mean, I started out, most of the young kids today start out from school, got contracts from, I think most of them from standard 8 already. So I started off after school, didn't have a contract, so I came here, worked my way through the club ranks, and you know, fight my way into the system. So yeah.
Okay. And as far as your Springbok career is concerned, how many caps have you got?
Currently I have 4 Springbok caps. Hopefully that would be a little bit more in years to come and days to come. So it's an awesome opportunity and a great privilege, you know, just to represent the Springboks. Only if it was one test match, it's something unbelievable.
Huge honor.
Huge honor
to
massive,
play for your country.
massive.
Tell me, and you did mention earlier to me you played in New Zealand. What was that like for you?
Yeah, I must say my first test against the All Blacks, it was actually my second test, but the first one in the All Blacks. It was in Wellington, at Hurricane Stadium. So it was an amazing feeling. I mean, it was a sellout, and it was World Cup year 2011. So it was just awesome feeling, and great game.
Folks, we're here to talk a bit about golf, and of course, Werner being a keen golfer. As a PGA professional, we find that a lot of amateurs don't give enough time to their putting.
No, sure.
So we're going to chat a little bit about putting, and we're going to get the viewers out there to understand a couple of basics. But what's important to understand, I think, for a lot of people, Werner, is that we spend a lot of time on the range perfecting the swing, working on mechanics and so on. But if you think about it, you're going to have to get onto the green in most instances 18 times. If you have 2 putts per green, that's 36 putts. And scoring, if you don't putt well and efficiently well, is very difficult.
No, for sure.
So, in terms of putting, what do you find really is difficult for you to master?
I think the main thing for me is days when you're scoring well is the medium length putt. I say 3 to 4 meters is a putt that you make a couple, or you know, just tap in seconds once, leave it very close by to finish it off. I think the days that you're really scoring well, that's what you're doing. I think the days that you're not really scoring well is when that medium range putts are a little bit out of sync, and you may be leaving it yourself a little bit of taster coming back, and
Yes.
you know, sometime maybe a 3-putt. I
Yeah.
think that's a big challenge.
So we're talking about two elements there. We're really talking about the line as the line of the putt,
Yeah.
and the second aspect to that is the pace.
Yes, for
Okay.
sure, yeah.
So we're going to look at both aspects, and then I've got a couple of other little pointers that we're going to go through and have a look.
Okay.
And we're going to look at your putting stroke and say, well, okay, that's what you do well. That's
Okay.
maybe what you should look at, and we'll go from there.
100%.
So let's hit a few putts.
Okay, sure.
Let's have a look. Okay. A little bit to the right. Not bad. Okay, well done. All right, before you hit the next putt, there's just one thing that we're going to talk about. Let's talk about your hand position on the
Okay.
putter. Your grip looks really nice, except the only question I've got for you is your index finger looks like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you always putted with your index finger like that?
I actually used to putt normal grip,
Okay.
and then I started just putting that finger there for a little bit more control. It works for me.
Okay.
I had a couple of questions about it, but
Yes.
yeah,
Okay, so to answer your question there, what happens is when the right index finger is extended on the shaft
Yeah.
of the putter or the grip of the putter,
Yes.
what it tends to do is push the head
okay.
more than normal. So what you might find is that on short putts, you might have difficulty in judging the pace. Okay?
Okay.
Where you'll see most conventional guys and a lot of pros, there's very few pros that do that. The only pro
Okay.
that I can recall that ever did that was Mark McNulty. Mark was a fantastic putter, but most of the time you'll find that the pros put their right thumb on top of the shaft and their right index finger just curls underneath gently
Underneath,
under the
okay.
grip, because what you want to do is have a bit of pressure in the forefinger and the thumb. That keeps the head still through the stroke.
Okay.
The minute you put the index finger like that, it tends to
Okay.
push a little harder than expected. Okay, so
Okay,
let's try
let's
that now.
try it.
Let's see how that feels. Yeah, that's
that better for you?
100%. That's better, yeah. So
Okay.
keep it like that. Try and get this thumb a little bit
bit.
more on top of the shaft. Okay?
Like that?
Yeah.
100%.
That just neutralizes your hands. Let's just hit a couple of putts like that. Well done. And again. So a grip change with a putter also does take a bit of time to settle in. Okay, but what I think it'll do for your stroke is neutralize. Well done. Perfect. It'll neutralize your feel.
Okay.
Now let's talk about the second aspect. Let's talk about the judgment of pace.
Yeah.
Very, very simply, long putts need a longer stroke.
Strong. Yeah.
But the most common fault I find with that is there's a long backswing and a short
Short,
follow
yeah.
through. It's got to be equidistant.
Yeah.
So if you take a
100%.
fairly long backswing, you have to
Same
have
follow through.
the same follow through.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you need to keep that
Yeah.
principle.
Yeah.
That'll-
Short putt, shorter back.
Correct.
Shorter follow.
So keep the word equidistant in your
Okay.
mind. So if you go back 6 inches, try and follow through 6 inches
Understand, yeah.
with a little bit of acceleration.
Okay.
But I've got one nice little drill that we're going to do as
Okay.
well. Okay. So what we're going to do now is I've got a coin here.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm going to put it on the back of your putter. So let's set up to the putt.
Okay.
And what we're going to do now is we're going to talk about acceleration.
Okay.
How do you feel? What is acceleration? Well, it's very simple. If I put this coin on your putter, let's just make it a bit smaller. When you
Okay.
take the putter back, you must leave this coin on the ground here. So the coin must actually fall off the back of the putter,
Okay.
and that'll make you accelerate to the hole. Okay? It's quite a clever little drill. So go back slowly and accelerate. See that? Okay.
Yeah.
That's how you learn how to accelerate
Accelerate,
the putter.
okay.
Correct. So if you're struggling with your pace, chances are you're not accelerating the putter properly, and you've got a
You're not
long
leaving the
backswing
marker.
and a short
Okay.
follow through. So this little marker on the back of your putter
Okay.
or a coin,
Yeah.
you take it back as far as you think you need, and then you need to accelerate and leave the coin on the
Okay.
ground.
Let me try again.
Very good. Look how the ball's rolling.
Yeah.
You see that?
Nice stroke as well.
Very
yeah.
nice stroke, a nice even pace, which is what you're looking for. So
Yeah.
let's do it again.
Okay.
Well done. Look at the roll on the ball.
Yeah.
Okay, the ball doesn't have to go in all the
In,
time,
yeah.
Werner. When you're practicing as well, I think to the viewers out there, don't always try and hole every putt. When you're working on your technique, think about what you're actually doing.
Practicing the stroke and the feel
That's it.
around it. Yeah.
Not every putt goes in the hole like everybody wants it to go in the hole, you know. But if you have a constructive little 20-minute putting session by yourself, working on things like
Yeah.
acceleration, length of swing, back and short, long putt, short putts, you start finding that your game starts improving because you're scoring better.
Yeah.
And you're not three-putting as much.
That's very true. And
Yeah.
I think the main thing is just getting that rhythm
Yes.
and that confidence going. I think then you're going to just out of itself, you're going to make a lot more putts.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Okay, so let's hit 2 more like that. So that's what we're talking about, acceleration. Okay. Well done. Beautiful roll on the ball. Doesn't matter it didn't go in, that's fine. There again. Well done. Don't worry, you just pushed it a little bit,
Yeah.
but that's fine. Look at how the ball is rotating on its axis. I've got one nice little drill that we're going to do as well now. So what you find is a lot of the professionals have one of these little items. It's called a line them up.
Yes.
You'll see that the golf ball that we're using today is a Titleist Pro V1X. And if you put the Pro V1X onto this line, okay, and you
Yes.
get a Sharpie, you draw yourself a nice red line on the ball like that. Okay, and take it off. You'll see you've got a nice line on the ball there.
Yes.
See that?
Yeah.
Okay, so what we're doing with this line, and what's really important is we're actually talking about striking the ball nice and square with your putter,
Okay.
but we're actually talking about the rotation of the golf ball
Okay.
once you've hit it. So it's going towards the hole, and what we're looking for is that the ball rotates on its axis,
On a straight line now.
on a straight line. So what that means is you've hit the putt square
Yeah.
to your line or your target, and the ball must rotate. That means if your putter face is cutting across the ball
Yes.
or you're too inside out with
Yeah.
your stroke, the ball will wobble.
Yes, I
and then you'll
understand.
see
Yeah,
that you're not making a nice stroke
Yes.
at the ball. So what I suggest to the folks out there is do yourself a favor, go and get one of those little line them ups, get yourself a Sharpie, and when you play golf, put a line on your ball like this, just a half circle on the golf ball, and then when you get to your putt on the green and it's left edge or right edge or whatever it is,
Line it up as
you
well.
line up this line to the target.
And you can actually just focus on your line,
Absolutely.
just lining your putter up with the line of the ball and just making a decent, nice stroke.
100%. So what we're trying to do is simplify
Yes. for
also
sure.
what we're doing. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this technique with the line on the ball
Yes.
to help you line up the putt, left edge or right edge, wherever the putt comes from. And then you're going to aim your putter and go from there.
Yes. Help with the alignment as well, just giving it a nice strike, keeping it on line.
I mean, you know, you've played a fair amount of golf. Alignment on putting is also important.
That's
you
the
know.
main thing. I think,
Yeah.
and it's easier if you get your line, put your ball on it, and then you can just focus, and you don't have to worry about the cup. You can just focus on your ball.
Exactly. You know, a lot of people think about the holding of the putt all the
Yeah.
time. They don't think about actually what they're doing to
Yeah.
get there. So if you can narrow it down and use these little things, let's see how it goes. All right,
Okay.
let's line you up there. Just left edge. Remember what we did with the acceleration?
Yes.
And let's see if we can knock it in. Well done. Look how beautifully that ball's rolling. Excellent.
That's
putt.
it.
Simple as that.
As simple as that.
But Werner, I think also be great if you could give the viewers out there something that you like to do when you play golf. Give them a tip as an avid golfer. What do you like?
I think the main thing for me is I think there's so many technical aspects around golf. I think main thing is you can't focus on everything. I think just get there. My philosophy about golf is don't think too much. Just get out there. When the ball is there, choose the club, the distance that you want to go. Just hit it. I mean, just take an easy swing back and just hit through the ball. I think when you start overcomplicating things and you think about a little bit of draw here or a little bit of cut here, or just don't complicate it. Just swing it.
Try and keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
Well, there you have it, folks. Some great advice from Werner Krier, South African rugby legend, Blue Bulls, 10 years at the Bulls. Fantastic to have him here, and thanks very much for
No,
your
thanks,
advice
Paul.
and helping
Was
us out with a bit of punch.
Nice being here.
Yeah, it's awesome to have you here.
No, thanks,
Werner.
eh?
Always
Thanks,
a
Paul.
pleasure.